Hello students, welcome to our online classes. In our previous classes, we have seen the first part of life process called nutrition, in which we have seen how the complex food converts into simple and reaches each and every part of the cell in our body. Why we need food, we have seen in nutrition section that it gives us energy which is required for repairment of the body. It is used in growth, but nutrition itself is half in terms to get energy, because only nutrition is not involved for getting energy. Respiration is also important. Means if the glucose reaches to the cell, it can't convert into energy itself. They need oxygen to burn, to oxidize. So that part we'll see in this section called respiration. In this part, respiration, we'll see how this oxygen reaches to each and every cell of the body, how this oxygen reaches through our respiratory system, how we inhale, how we exhale, the all process that is included for the obtaining of energy we'll see in this part of life process. Okay, so one by one we'll see in plants also, inside the cell and inside the respiratory tract. So first of all, we'll see what do we mean by respiration, the definition of respiration. Okay, so the respiration, it's a process which involves taking in oxygen into the cell, using it for releasing energy. How they are using? By burning food. Burning means oxidizing that food, that eliminates the waste products of the body from the body. Okay, so that we have to see. In nutshell, we can say this sugar in the form of glucose combines or reacts with oxygen which we have taken through respiration and forms water, carbon dioxide, and most important, they form energy. For that sake of energy, respiration takes place, because we know that energy is very important for our body to carry out all physical physiological process in the body. What are they? We'll discuss one by one. Okay, now what this energy do? See, the energy is energy currency. It is in the form of, chemically in the form of ATP. See, energy, we can't say energy we have not seen. Yes, we have not seen, but ATP means this chemical is required for every process in the body. That's why it is known as the currency. Okay, so here you see this energy currency is very important for the body. What is that? This currency is adenosine triphosphate. It is adenosine triphosphate. What is that? Adenosine triphosphate. So it is a molecule which is required in various processes in the body. Okay, so every physiological process in the body or metabolic activity in the body, they require a chemical to carry out, to complete. So that chemical is ATP. This is very important. Okay. So this energy produced during respiration and stored in the body, and where it is stored, we know that we have seen in class 9, it is stored in mitochondria of the body. Okay. So and used by the organism when required, whenever there is requirement, whenever to carry out any that function, we need this ATP. That's why it is very important for us. Okay. Now how this ATP forms? See, in our body, this ATP has some lower version also. Means in our body, this ATP can in the form of AMP, they are in the form of ADP also, and ultimately we have ATP also. Okay, AMP means it is adenosine monophosphate. This is adenosine diphosphate, and simultaneously this is adenosine triphosphate. So here it is, there are three versions of energy. So we can't use ADP in any process. We have to convert this AMP and ADP into ATP. So see, ADP is here, and in our body phosphate is present. Phosphate means it's ion, PO4 3 minus, and with the help of energy after getting respiration they form ATP. How this ATP is utilized? This ATP is broken down into ADP plus phosphate plus energy. Okay, this is how it is utilized, this is how it is formed. So this is a cyclic process which takes place inside our body. Okay, so whenever there is a requirement of energy, it should be expensed, that ATP is used and converts into ADP, and whenever there is need to form ATP, again this ADP is utilized again to form ATP. Okay, now what is the function of ATP? See, there are many functions in the body, but we have categorized this function into three main part or categories. There are three main categories of this functioning of ATP. First, see, contraction of muscles. What do you mean by contraction of muscles? See, for every physical process of our body, for locomotion, for movement, okay, so at the time our body have to contract, means the muscles have to contract and relax for any movement or any locomotion. For that purpose our body utilizes ATP. So we can say that for every process of contraction and relaxation our body needs ATP. So every physiological process for locomotion or movement we need ATP. So that is included in the contraction of muscles. After that, conduction of nerve impulses. What do you mean by conduction of nerve impulses? Conduction means what? Conduction is carrying out nerve impulses from one place to another place. See, if we have nervous system in our body, in that nervous system, for the sending of signals, for sending of informations, our body sends that signal, that information in the form of nerve impulses. To carry out nerve impulses from one neuron to another neuron, we need ATP. So with the help of that ATP, our nerve impulses move from one neuron to another neuron. So this is important. Third is synthesis of DNA, RNA and protein. See, in our cell we have DNA in the form of chromatin network. They have to convert into RNA, okay, for any character expression. For that DNA to DNA means DNA replication, they need ATP. From DNA to RNA, this is called transcription, they need ATP to complete. And finally the RNA converts into protein. This is called transcription, translation. So also this need ATP. So in any chemical formation, vital chemical formation, any carrying out nerve impulses or any physiological process, they all need ATP. Okay, so that's how ATP function is there in the body. After that, we'll see how this ATP is formed. Okay, so we'll see the different types of respiration. So different types of respiration means there are three types of respiration we'll see in this chapter. Okay, one by one. The first is the cellular respiration. Cellular means this takes place inside the cell. Okay, cellular respiration takes place inside the cell. What happens to the glucose or oxygen inside the cell? So totally is a cellular process, cytological process. So that we'll see in cellular respiration. Internal respiration. In this respiration, we'll see how this oxygen goes from our nostrils till the cell. Okay, so there is some system is involved for the oxygen to reach each and every cell. So that system will study in internal respiration, or we can say we have to see respiratory system in our body. Okay, so in internal respiration we'll see respiratory system. It includes respiratory tract, it includes respiratory organ. Now external respiration. So what do you mean by external respiration? External means what? External means how you inhale and how you exhale. Okay, this is totally a physical process in which we will see the physiological process of getting in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So that we'll see in the external respiration. Okay, so after that, one by one we'll see in respiratory, in cellular respiration we have two types of respiration. First is aerobic and second is anaerobic respiration. So in aerobic respiration what happens? Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen and anaerobic means in the absence of oxygen. So it's very clear. Okay, but before going in detail about aerobic and aerobic, we have to see some important compounds which will come in the reactions of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So what is there? See, first is glucose. Okay, it's a very simple compound, glucose, which contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. It's an organic compound. The formula is C6H12O6. Okay, apart from this glucose, they have to convert into pyruvic acid, which converts into pyruvate. Okay, now this pyruvate, the formula of pyruvate, the structural formula of pyruvate is CH3 C double bond O C double OH. We can call it also in a molecular form that C3, so count it 1 2 3, C3 H4O3. Okay, so this is the structural formula, and by this this is very easy for us to understand which group is present in this formula. See, COOH is there, this means it's a carboxylic acid, and COO is also present, this is a ketone. So we can say pyruvic acid is a ketonic carboxylic acid. We have ethanol, we have OH group is there, which shows it is a alcohol. So we can say ethyl alcohol. Okay, lactic acid or lactate, the formula is CH3 CH single bond OH COOH. Okay, now COOH and here OH is there, so this is called hydroxycarboxylic acid. You can call it hydroxycarboxylic acid. Okay, so these are some important compound which takes place in cellular respiration that we will see. Okay, so one by one we'll see. First is aerobic respiration. Okay, in aerobic respiration what happens? In aerobic respiration what happens? It takes place in the presence of oxygen. First of all, we have to understand this. It takes place in the presence of oxygen. High amount of energy is released. Okay, means high amount of energy released. This is two main points here. And where it takes place? It takes place in the cytoplasm as well in the mitochondria. Okay, so what happens here? This glucose converts into pyruvic acid. Okay, so the glucose is one molecule and this pyruvic acid is two molecule. Fine. This conversion from glucose to pyruvic acid is called glycolysis, but we have to define it how. When one molecule of glucose converts into two molecule of pyruvic acid in cytoplasm of the cell is called glycolysis. It's very important that when one molecule of glucose converts into two molecule of pyruvic acid in cytoplasm is called glycolysis. Okay, we know that here glucose is a 6 molecule compound and 6 carbon molecule, and pyruvic acid is 3 carbon molecule. That's why it is one molecule. It is one molecule and it is two molecules. So pyruvic acid. It is also known as EMP pathway. It means Embedon-Meyerhof-Parnas pathway. Embedon-Meyerhof-Parnas pathway. Now this till pyruvate, the glycolysis takes place inside the cytoplasm. After that, they get oxygen. Okay, they get oxygen in mitochondria by the process called Krebs cycle. To form carbon dioxide, water, and releases high amount of energy, that is 38 ATP. So this is important in aerobic respiration where we get 38 ATP of energy with one molecule of glucose. Okay, so now once again in aerobic respiration, what's happening? In the presence of oxygen, high amount of energy takes place. Okay, so when one glucose converts into two molecule of pyruvic acid, okay, is called glycolysis, and this pyruvic acid converts into with the help of oxygen carbon dioxide, water, and releases how much 38 ATP of energy. So by this we can know that how aerobic respiration is very important for us. Okay, so after that, anaerobic respiration. So what is in that anaerobic respiration? See, this is totally different from it have absence of oxygen. What is that of absence of oxygen? They do not require oxygen. And first of all, you have to say this: anaerobic respiration takes place inside the microorganism also and in higher organisms also. Okay, but it is absence in higher plants. Okay, because they will die if anaerobic respiration takes place. Okay, so this releases very low amount of energy. Fine, and one by one we'll see. First we'll see in the yeast what happening inside the yeast. So in the process of fermentation and anaerobic breakdown, what is fermentation? Wait for a while, we'll tell you fermentation later. First see what happened in the anaerobic respiration. See, glucose converts into pyruvic acid, same by the process of glycolysis, and here this pyruvic acid or pyruvate, they are not getting oxygen. So in the absence of oxygen, this process makes ethanol. So here ethanol is formed along with carbon dioxide and very less amount of energy is formed. How much it is? It is only 2 ATP is formed here. Only it is 2 ATP of energy is formed. So here in glucose, this converts into pyruvic acid, and this pyruvic acid in the absence of oxygen, the fermentation process takes place and forms ethanol. This ethanol plus carbon dioxide and releases very less amount of energy. How much it is? 2 ATP of energy. So this process, when pyruvic acid converts into ethanol with the help of some enzymes, one enzyme is important. For example, here to take place fermentation, we need invertase or gymase enzyme. So with that gymase enzyme, this process takes place. Understood? So what happens in fermentation? It is an anaerobic breakdown. Anaerobic means without the presence of oxygen, in the absence of oxygen, of organic substrates into various products. Various products means, for example, here ethanol is formed, sometimes acetic acid is also formed, lactic acid also formed. So this is alcoholic fermentation. Okay, you can see the acidic fermentation is different. So like this, we have different types of fermentation. Okay, but the important thing is that with the help of enzymes, in different fermentation, enzymes are different. Okay, so this is anaerobic respiration. After that, what is the use of fermentation? See, fermentation is used, bacteria, it is used to make a yogurt, we can call it a flavored curd. Okay, here we use the lactobacillus species of the bacteria. Ethyl alcohol fermentation, it is used for baking. Brewing means making alcohol, for example beer, for example rum, whiskey, these all are some liqueurs. Okay, so for fuel production we need this soya sauce, let's convert soya sauce also. Lactic acid bacteria also helps to make pickles. Okay, they also helps to make vinegar. Okay, carbon dioxide bacteria used to make Swiss cheese. Like this, they are also they also used to make chocolate or cocoa. So these all are there. So by the help of the fermentation, this process is highly used in food industry. The basic thing is that. Okay, now anaerobic respiration also takes place in the muscle cells also, in human beings, in higher animals. So here also the same process is this, that it takes place in the absence of oxygen, low amount of energy is used. Fine, this glucose converts into pyruvic acid, same as we have seen in the last process. Here absence of oxygen takes place, but it takes place inside the muscle tissue, but in earlier fermentation takes place inside the yeast. There they get a different enzyme like gymase or invertase, and here they get different enzyme, for example lactate dehydrogenase. Just remember this, to convert this pyruvic acid into lactic acid inside the muscle cell, we need lactate dehydrogenase enzyme, plus very less energy is used, that is how much, 2 ATP of energy is released. Okay, so whenever we are not getting energy, we are feeling very tired, at that time this lactic acid formation takes place inside the body. So what happens at that time, that this energy takes place inside the body is what? See, accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle cells. What happening here? Accumulation means what? What happens if lactic acid is accumulated in the muscle cells? This accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle cells causes two phenomena. First is fatigueness. We are feeling very tired if lactic acid accumulates inside the body. Okay. After that, some muscular cramp takes place. So what is that muscular cramp takes place? This muscular cramp takes place means pain. Generally we feel pain. That's why players of different sports are advised to have some warm up before playing the actual game. If they don't, then there is chances of fatigueness and muscular cramp during the matches or games. Okay, so how to recover from this accumulation of lactic acid? To recover from this lactic acid, we need hot water bath. This hot water bath helps. This water bath helps to break this lactic acid into carbon dioxide gradually, not at a time. And second thing is that body massage. So every player after the long match, they used to go for steam bath. Why? Because they have to get energized again after the breaking down of lactic acid into carbon dioxide. So if there is any accumulation of lactic acid in the body, then there are chances of muscular cramp and fatigue just takes place. So they have to take care of that. Okay, after this we have difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So see here, what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic? One by one we'll see here. See, in aerobic respiration, this occurs in all living cells of higher plants, okay, in animals also. In anaerobic respiration, it takes place in bacteria, certain fungi, germinating seeds, fleshy fruits. This takes place in that also. Okay, it requires oxygen. It does not require. The end products of carbon dioxide and water is there. End products may be alcohol or lactic acid and CO2 in different condition, different part. It releases 38 ATP of energy, and it releases only 2 ATP of energy, very less energy. Okay, all reaction except the reaction of glycolysis takes inside the mitochondria. Okay, and here all reactions takes place in cytoplasm. Okay, this is important point. High amount of energy, low amount of energy. Okay, non-toxic to plants. In plants, if aerobic respiration takes place, there will be no problem. But if they are not getting proper oxygen, there will be the formation of ethyl alcohol or somewhere else. Then this is very toxic for them, and the plant will die. So this is the main problem from them. Okay, so this is the basic difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Fine. In the last part, we have how plants respire. Okay, so plants also get oxygen. See, they take carbon dioxide and release oxygen in the process of photosynthesis. But you know, plants also intake oxygen, converts it into energy. Okay, so how they take? They do by simple diffusion process. How they intake? By diffusion process, means higher concentration to lower concentration, no problem. But through which structure they do this? Okay, so they have three structures. In leaves they have the green stomata. See, stomata is there. Here they have some stoma is there for exchange of gases. They have lenticels in older plants. In big trees they have lenticels. This is lenticel, small pore like structure present in the bark, and through there they helps to take oxygen. In roots they have root hair. Through soil also, in soil also air is present, so that they take oxygen from them and get energy. So by through the all process, this is helpful to them to take oxygen, and with that oxygen they get energy. Okay, so in this section, in this class, we have seen how respiration takes place inside the body in plants. We have seen different types of respiration. Okay, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In my next class, see, we have completed this cellular respiration. In next class, we'll see some examples of different animals, how they intake oxygen through the different structures, and after that we'll go to internal respiration. Okay, so before that, just remember, in CBSE question paper, this is a very important question paper. That question comes for what do you mean by cellular respiration, and explain the different types. Fine, different types of anaerobic respiration, or we can they can separately ask that what happened inside the yeast, how respiration takes place inside the yeast. Okay, when fermentation process takes place. Understood? Okay, so this is how you will complete this.